Joe Biden and company making good on its threat to crack down on gun dealers by preparing to enforce some new federal rules that would require anyone who sells firearms for profit to be federally registered and conduct background checks.
Hey everybody, so as the head of the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, I'm very excited to tell you that as of today, we are closing the gun show loophole. Basically, we are requiring that anybody who sells guns as a dealer has to do background checks. And what we know is this is going to save lives. So it's an important step forward. We got more to do. We need to pass an assault weapons ban. We need red flag laws and universal background checks. But good news to report today.
Today, the Justice Department is issuing one of the most significant gun regulations in decades. Pursuant to the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the regulation expands the definition of who must obtain a license and conduct a background check before selling firearms. It will also close the gun show loophole. Under this regulation, it will not matter if guns are sold on the internet, at a gun show, or at a brick and mortar store. If you sell guns predominantly to earn a profit, you must be licensed and you must conduct background checks.
Here now with reaction, Second Amendment advocate and a man who knows things a lot about firearms, Colion Noir. I just want to point out that Senators Tillis and Cornyn should be embarrassed because they're the ones who cobbled together this bipartisan Communities Safety Act.
15 members of the United States Senate who are Republicans, including John Cornyn from Texas, said that this exact law that was passed, that ATF has now adopted here in this regulation, struck the right balance and isn't infringing on people's Second Amendment rights. So I would push back that anyone's Second Amendment rights are actually infringed upon here.
That there is the foundation of what is essentially gun control. But Colion, I think that this is a whole lot of hooey, what the Biden administration is doing, because based on what they said today, closing the gun show loophole, it doesn't matter where a sale happens. That's not how federal law works.
No, it doesn't at all. And this whole notion about the gun show loophole being this egregious way for criminals to get a bunch of guns. The DOJ in 2019 actually did a survey where they found out that 0.8% of criminals got their guns from actual gun shows. But it's understood commonly throughout the gun community that criminals get their guns illegally on the black market. So really what this is Joe Biden and his administration trying to find a backdoor way to create a registration because he can't get his universal background checks passed through Congress. And so that's essentially all this is. And so I've said it before and I've said it again, the universal background check cannot be executed unless we have a gun registration. And we in the gun community don't like gun registrations because every country that has established a gun registration has inevitably used that registration to confiscate the firearms.
Yep.
And when you take firearms, you take away people's rights to defend themselves, which is actually what I think these liberals want to do. They want us reliant on the state, not on our families and our individual selves.
Absolutely. And then from that perspective, I just want everybody to know that when you start hearing these bills and they start talking about bipartisan this and so forth, and they use this soft language, just understand what's actually in the bill is only going to hurt you when it comes to gun control, because that's all gun control is. It is a law that is designed to make it harder on you with the hopes that it makes it harder on criminals who weren't obeying the law in the first place. So now you just made it harder to defend yourself. And then you're now relying on the government, which the Second Amendment was written so that you could have firearms to protect yourself against a possible tyrannical government that you are now forced to being relied on.
Absolutely. So just to reiterate, I think that this Biden administration just wanted a bunch of headlines to repeat their language of we're closing the gun show loophole when there's never been any special exception for where the sale happens, whether it's online, if you're in the business of dealing firearms, they're trying to con more people into getting a license before selling used guns. And that bipartisan bill from 2022 that I mentioned, that also was the foundation for this now DOJ Extreme Risk Protection Order Center. And I want to get your reaction to that because, again, that's another like national way of trying to confiscate people's guns, Colion.
Yeah, and I don't approve or agree with red flag laws largely because they violate people's due process. If I'm in a position and I'm considered a danger to myself or someone else, there are already established ways legally that can put me or remove me from society in such a way where I'm no longer a danger. But for somebody to be able to just say, hey, this person said this, and then go to a judge and say that, and then cops show up and then remove my firearms, what is constitutional about that? If anything, it's the absolute most unconstitutional way of doing anything. And so everything that they do at this point is designed to some type of way slip through the back door and create the very type of gun control that they were literally initially trying to achieve by way of Congress. But now he's essentially using the executive office as a dictator in many respects by executing these executive orders like he's trying to do now with respect to this background check issue and now with this red flag law center.
No doubt.
Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.